Hello again, I'm Dean Jones, and I'm so excited to be with my friend and colleague, Val Burmester, our Director of Strategic Growth for Realogics, Sotheby's International Realty. So exciting to be working with you again. We have been through so much as broker owners and the housing industry. I mean, we can't ignore the headlines, right? We've had the lowest home sales volumes in 30 years. There's been so much disruption within the industry leadership, but also what's needed by a broker today is different than what it has been in the past. We do think there's going to be a lot of consolidation, and I'm going to suggest that this could be the year of the great agent migration. You're in a unique spot because you've been an agent, been in growth management for a lot of different companies. What brings you back to RSIR today?
Well, I'm so happy to be back.
Welcome.
I missed the family for sure. I wanted to be in a group with collaboration and family and agents that thought like me. And I wanted the support from my leadership. So that led me to go to corporate, actually. And I went to corporate Sotheby's and ended up helping to create the recruiting deck for all of corporate Sotheby's, all their corporate offices, which then after 2 years led me to help another affiliate in Chicago, all Sotheby's. I'm Sotheby's blue and blue is what I say.
Yes.
And then it led to just this past year helping 14 SIR affiliates.
It's incredible.
And it's all growth. It's just, we have termed ourselves a solution to a growth problem. And the reason is that we have to grow, but we want the best. Is that I wanted the best. You want your agents to love who's coming in the door, to share the same ideas, and also it's also supportive to the staff and to the leadership if you have great agents. We don't ever really talk to anybody unless it's been approved.
Makes sense that, I mean, this is the family that you choose, and I appreciate your commentary because we were together for many years up through just before the pandemic, and then you went on your journey. But you're a prolific real estate advisor, Val. And in addition to what you're doing corporately, whether it's for the mothership at Sotheby's headquarters or now back with us on a local ownership level, you sell a lot of homes. You've represented a lot of different buyers and sellers over the years, and you've built a team, and you have a unique perspective about what it takes to be a successful broker, especially now, and especially with what's ahead in the industry. What are some of the trends that you're seeing amongst the brokers that you're speaking with across the U.S.?
They all want collaboration and they want support, and they want to feel like they're in a partnership. Just like a marriage or a relationship, they want to feel like they're giving to you, but they're not. They're really giving them themselves, right?
Yes.
Like I go sell a house for me, for my clients, but in the end, it's is my brokerage giving back to me? And I think that's the biggest pain point is their brokerages are not giving anything back. They're just either letting go of support staff, or they have too much where you stand in line
Very
and have to put
transactional.
it's all transactional.
Yep.
And I just can't tell you how much that means as a broker is that if I want anything done, it's there and it's already thought. It's you guys are thought provoking for me as an agent. And when I share that with an agent that doesn't have that, which is a lot, I just talked to someone this morning. She doesn't have beautiful marketing content. She's never even been shown how to put that together. She doesn't even know how to go on a listing presentation or what to present. And those things matter, when you're and she's not even a new agent. She's just been at multiple agencies and just hasn't found her home.
Right.
And she's so excited to align with us in the next week. It's so fun when they come over, and then to introduce them to this incredible global network that we have. And you know it well. Dean's on stage most of the times, or in leadership groups. There are different networking groups inside that networking group, a ski networking group, a golf networking group. Anything you want. The agent that is coming over to us today really wanted to be attached to the equestrian network. Well,
Right.
we're going to help her do that because we're partnering with her. And that's what's exciting is we get to show them how it's done.
Well, and it is different that, I have learned so much about the industry from my agents. I went to my founding members and said, what do you need to be successful? I've been more entrepreneurial about how we've developed, this brand, and it's unique perhaps to us because I don't compete with my agents. They are the last mile to our consumer, and we want to resource them. But we have ideas about where the market's going next. We try to get there first. Content marketing is a big piece of that. Certainly being comfortable in publications and in social media, public relations. I mean, core advantages that I think you have to earn, and they can't just be acquired. Speaking of a few of those too, it's the respect, it's the legacy, and it's the brand awareness that the company has around the world. And I wish I could take credit for doing that, but it wasn't. I mean, it's a franchise system. We're an owner operator. I am so proud of the company we keep and the brand that they have curated. It is consistent around the world, and it just feels like an expansion of your own family beyond the state lines, beyond the international borders. And we have brokers right now that are in the south of France, and they're doing business as if they were in their backyard on the east side. People that might choose to build a team and do less of the business themselves and just be a center point for referrals as we are building out our legacy model for our teams. I mean, we don't want our brokers to sunset in their revenue when they sunset in life. And it is very possible. I would even submit to you, Val, that this is a lifestyle proposition. It's not just a real estate brand. It is actually a lifestyle.
I agree. And two things you said in there was consistency and security. And I believe we have that at Sotheby's and also with Realogics. And the reason is, every day in the news, there's another company that's been bought out or acquired. And there's such an insecurity about that. And, there's I hear news all the time that something's going to happen or does happen. And then as an agent, I'm like, I can breathe because I'm at Sotheby's and it is consistent and stable. And Realogics is too. You brought up another point too about the competing broker. Many times I look at agents and I'm asking how their owner and their leadership is helping them to elevate. And they don't have that partnership. It's kind of like you said, you're out on your own. And then I look at the numbers and their leader is the number one agent in the office, right?
Oops.
So that's a struggle. But what we do have is those relationships and those networking events. I mean, I think there's 24 this year for Sotheby's.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I haven't seen the full list, but it's not just the planned ones. You have the Texas networking, you have a golf networking in April, we have ninja networking events, but everyone's creating these networking events that are intimate, like Level Up. Level Up is like 1,500 agents versus 4,000.
Yeah, we'll be there in November.
I know.
Well, we got to meet again after all these years at the Global Networking event in Nashville, and I've watched you both maintain your career as a top producing agent, but also helping growth in either other franchises or with corporate itself. And now you've made this turn back. And I know you're consulting and advising a lot of other markets and you're building a team around this enterprise. But I mean, the brand so well. And I'm so grateful that you've come home back to Realogics, Sotheby's International Realty, and you're helping be the first conversation a lot of times with brokers that might want to see, is that the right fit for me? What are some of the advantages that you believe you can bring to a broker that is inquiring about making a move?
I typically start it with what they love about their brokerage because, it's probably something we definitely have over here. And that's always good to know because if it's leadership, we've got great leadership. Most of the time, their average sales price does never compete with ours. And almost in every single affiliate that I've worked with are Realogics. We have the highest average listing sales price, the highest average in the buy side listing.
Yeah, both sides of the transaction.
Both sides of the transaction. And so when they equate that they're stuck on a cap or something, I'm like, but you're not elevating to that highest average sales price. And why do you think it is? And I go back to Sotheby's. We are luxury at all price points. However, we do elevate that conversation.
Well, I don't think all brokerages are created equal. And we've been on a journey for the last 15 years. We've had $21 billion in sales volumes, and we've performed with actually a boutique number of agents on the roster. So there's a reason why they have the highest average selling prices on both sides of the transaction, the most listing volume per agent, highest productivity per agent, and also the highest percentage of producing agents within the company. That is the company that we keep. But most of them had not started there. It's been a journey for them. And that's the growth trajectory that we want to bring. Whether you were a newer agent or jump onto a team or you're finishing your career on a high note, we want to be one of ascension with our brokers. We have a business model that's perfectly aligned with their growth. I know a lot of folks might say, well, is that a more expensive cost of service? And the reality is it's not, because it runs it runs with the production that the agent is earning, and oftentimes we're a material component of generating that additional production. And whether that's through the referral network or raising their price points or expanding, through the marketing prowess that the company is so well known for. So it wouldn't surprise you that our agents find themselves with a significantly increased sales volume. At the end of the year, the only number that really matters in this business is 1099. Did they generate more revenue or did they not? And it takes certain tools to do that.
And many agents are outsourcing that. And I always say, look at your 1099. What did you outsource this year? Me? Not really anything, because my leadership and my support staff did everything. They offered all these tools. There's so many free tools that were offered. And when I came over to Realogics 2014, in the door, Realogics, first day, boom, they were showing me everything. And I was just like, whoa, you guys do this and you have this and I don't have to create it and I don't have to go pay someone. That led to me having one of the best years I've ever had in real estate.
Love hearing that.
Right away.
But we've all been through so much. Let's unpack the last 5 years. There's been a pandemic. There's been political dysfunction for sure. Industry upheaval at NAR with a lot of the policies. Peak to trough corrections in most of our peer group of around 35 or 40%. Higher for longer mortgage rates. Slowest U.S. sales volumes in 30 years. And potentially a propensity for a recoil effect too. I mean, I think that slowdown in home sales volumes is going to recover. I think that inflection point is here. And that's why, Val, I believe that we are going to see this great migration event with brokers choosing the company they keep for the next chapter. Because once you've made a decision that you want to build into the opportunity that's before you, it really matters who you do that with. Because otherwise you're just treading water in the status quo and something that might be comfortable but not a catalyst for your future growth. And I think we're both aware of some pretty significant conversations that are taking place with very large organizations through consolidations and acquisitions. There's just a lot shaking out. And so that could also have the effect of some brokers looking for a new place to land. And we want to welcome the right choices with your help here at Realogics Sotheby's International Realty.
I think that's huge because as these companies get bigger and bigger, or they change and they pivot, and a company acquires another company, everything changes in there. And during that change, it takes time. It takes a year to 2 years for that to all kind of shake itself out. I'm watching it in Tennessee right now, in Nashville. It's been a year since a company was acquired and everybody just is frozen. There's 50% of their agents have not chosen which direction to go yet. So they're just frozen. Some followed their former leaders. Some went the new direction. They just want direction. And there's some big announcements coming this year, and if not this year, within the next 2 years. Again, I go back to the stability, and that's just keeping in our lane. We're staying in our lane, doing what we do best, growing, learning, collaborating, and we just keep going this way instead of just either stagnant or, separation. I don't feel separated.
Thank you. And now we're back together, which makes me feel heartened. And I met with Cal Lyford, who granted me the franchise back in 2010. So it's been 15 years. And in our conversation, it was recognized that all of the senior leadership at Sotheby's International Realty have been there for 10, 15, or 20 years. I mean, these are long haulers that realize that this is the best brand in the industry, and they have the most significant contributions to offer on this incredible journey that the brand has been around worldwide. But that is very different than a lot of the other companies that have seen leadership change every couple of years. And I mean, it must be bewildering to follow leadership that keeps changing. And I just feel very fortunate to be stabilized, to be committed, and be a consistent local leader since 2010.
Well, the other thing that happens sometimes when there's these changes at these other companies, some things are lost. Things are cut back, pulled back. Less marketing dollars are put somewhere because they're putting them somewhere. And we don't have that. You guys are giving us all this, I feel, for free. I do feel that way because there's so much that we have to go and really do a listing presentation correctly, to get a house ready to market, to our global network. I mean, the press alone, our Sotheby'sRealty.com had 52 million visitors last year. 49% of that was outside the country. I think that's huge.
Well, number one leadership in luxury real estate editorial placements as well. So, I mean, that's certainly
30%
a
or something
hallmark.
reach, yeah.
It really is incredible. Let's ask this question, Val, with your experience. We talked a little bit about the flight to quality and the flight to quantity. It feels like brokers are having to make a decision about how they're going to grow their business. Is it going to be the sales volume with a more discount approach, or is it going to be added value, full service, full fee, and raising, the average price point, or expanding their network, beyond their traditional neighborhoods that they serve? What is drawing you to our version of that?
I think it's both, because you can say, I'm only going to do 12 units this year, or what does it look like? Or I'm going to stay steady Eddie. You sell a $2 million house, and then a neighbor calls you, and then that's a new client, and it just keeps happening. And so the more we're out there, you can't stop your business unless you want to refer it out or build a team. But I see that that's what happened to me, and it's happening this year already. We had a lot of stagnation in the market last year, which was great because I got to recruit more. But at the same time, my business was one of the worst it's been in a long time last year. We had a lot of people just sitting there with those low interest rates and not wanting to pivot.
Right.
Now they're pivoting, right? And that's going to help grow me this year and help grow other agents, because I can't do it all alone. And so I'm bringing partners on every day to help me sell these houses. But the recruiting is way more fun, and bringing agents to the brand, because I get to see them grow and I get to help elevate them and introduce them. I spend a lot of time, on the weekend, Saturday, I think I connected 6 people to each other around the country, and to other agents. And they're all new agents to the brand, and they were like, I need somebody here, I need somebody there. That's what's so fun. And when they get that, they thank me. The connection is it just happens.
Well, you are such a matchmaker. How many of our affiliates do you have on your cell phone?
I have 11,000.
It's incredible.
And I have them all by SIR. So
just over a third of all the affiliates across the U.S.
It's crazy.
And around the world are
Sometimes
on your phone.
have to put something like, how do I remember this agent? And I'll be like, G&E,
right.
The pickleball tournament, the golf tournament, But I pretty much know most of them. Like, I could just I could send them a text and they'd pick up the phone or say, hi, Val, right away. It's kind of my goal to get everyone.
That's fantastic. I mean, Val, do you feel like we're at this inflection point with this new administration and with the stock markets booming, the great wealth transfer, propensity for growth in our in-city renaissance, and we are in the right place at the right time with the right brand and the right peers to really grow? And, that led to a lot of decisions of the last couple of years. It would have been easy to take offers for acquisition or consolidate. You just can't save your way to prosperity. And we have built such beautiful infrastructure in our 6 regional offices across central Puget Sound. And I know it's been difficult to get back to work and utilize the branch office in its traditional format, but we've reinvented that too with our food and beverage partnerships. And we've got really dynamic lifestyle centers that I'm proud to say feel like a living room to the community. And hopefully, as an extension of our family, our brokers and our staff members can mix and mingle and collaborate. And that's such an important part of our culture, but it's so beautiful to see it returning. Yourself, case in point. What would you say about our work environments and the types of lifestyle opportunities that they provide?
Well, you were very innovative doing this before COVID. I mean, our offices have always been the place to be seen. You opened it up so that agents could hold events there where they didn't have to go rent. So you kind of set the pace to bring people back to the office with this incredible idea.
Well, it started with having really bespoke retail locations that were feeling like an extension of the neighborhood that was hosting them. And so they are all a little different, but they do have that food and beverage connectivity. We want to activate them to be as much as possible like an 18-hour lifestyle center. And it would just be a shame to see the lights go out at 5 o'clock and it not to become a more vibrant location for entertaining and celebration. And I've watched it firsthand, whether it's between a couple of our brokers or a walk-in off the street that's enjoying a coffee or a cocktail. Real estate happens where the conversations start.
I was just going to say, you've extended that hour. If an agent thinks they're 9 to 5 at their office at home, 5 o'clock, they shut down. Well, the agents that are back at our offices collaborating, having that cup of coffee before or that during. That conversation, it starts with relationships. And as they're building relationships, and you're right, somebody walks in the door, they're like, I want to be part of this. And they're not even an agent.
Well, we have so many different kinds of events, whether it's celebratory like the Galentine's event, or we've had fashion shows and yappy hours with the puppies, the art walks throughout many of our offices. But the ones I'm the most proud of are the ones that are hard hitting, like what we've done with the Market Maker series, whether it's with Matthew Gardner or UBS Wealth Management. We're having one at the end of the month with Tadashi Shiga and the whole AI platform that he's creating for House Bill 1110. I mean, we want to go to where the markets are going next and get there first. And oftentimes that means unpacking complicated conversations that need to be educated. And we understand that means, first and foremost, a venue where we can collect and collaborate. We can have inspiration, education, and activation for our agents. So you walked in with a desire and you left with content that you can put out into your network and generate new business verticals that you might not have otherwise. And so much of that is collaboration. And it doesn't happen when you're in your jammies, or zooming in or running around with a cell phone. I just really feel like we don't want to lose sight of the fact that we want to be together.
Well, you would create an environment for people to come back to, too, because if they're going to come to an office where they're just cubicles, like most real estate brokerages look like. You walk in, nothing's really changed. They all have cubicles. People have their own offices. Then there's private offices. And you have maybe a meeting room, and that's kind of it. This allows people to go back in and just have that conversation about what's going on in the market. How do I tell my clients that I think it's going to be an incredible year because new construction may be halted or delayed, so that the demand for real estate is going to be a little bit more like 2020, like 2021. It could be. I mean, that's the first thing I thought. I just wanted to bounce it off someone. Instead, I'm sitting at home in my office instead of coming in and having that collective, conversation.
So we know the industry, Val, has had many homeowners locked in to their mortgage and has had many brokers locked in to their brokerage. There is an increase of inquiries. You're on the front lines to realize that. What are the experiences that an inquiring broker goes through with you as they look at a journey with Sotheby's International Realty?
Right. I always ask them, are you happy? And 9 times out of 10, they are.
Good.
Which is good. We like happy agents, right? The ones that aren't happy, that's even a deeper dive, because we may not be the best fit for them. There's one in particular I spoke to on Friday, and she just wasn't getting any guidance. Like, she would go to a listing appointment, for example, and have a conversation about what the market's really doing. She doesn't go into the office because she doesn't feel like she's welcome in the office, right? And so she's not getting those conversations, or she's not going to the meetings and getting the whole discussion about what is going on. Is that she, because of her fear of going into the office because it's so stale or the meetings are not inclusive and it's not a collaborative environment, she's struggling with how to respond to her clients when they ask her questions that she should be informed upon. So I thought that was interesting. And if you're not an expert, they don't want to hire you, right? So you're there to give them advice. Today, I have a lawyer we're in the middle of a transaction, but these conversations we're having in our office meetings all the time, or you're really good at giving us content. I mean, I pulled up Dean Jones today in my phone just to make sure, on my email, article after article after article on how we should position ourselves in the market and how we should convey it to our clients. So back to the agent thing. I get that they love their broker, but they don't, their price isn't elevating. And I always ask them, why do they think that they're not elevating? The market's going up, but you're just staying stagnant at a $5 million agent. What are you not getting to get those listings or to get those buyers? What is your company doing to help you find those, right? Or where are you getting, education? Like, they don't do any education. And I'm like, we still give education, have education classes. Yeah, it's the education. We still are, I'm like, when's the last time you went in the office? Would you ever go to the events? And they just don't have them. They may have a summer party and they have like a holiday party.
Sure.
We have all these events so that you can meet people. And everybody's so nice when they go in. So they usually are not feeling part of the team. And I think that's the biggest obstacle. And I also think that they aren't getting in front of the right clients or the right opportunities.
I really appreciate how you approach those conversations with great discretion, because oftentimes it works out and they onboard. Other times they don't. They've made a choice to go elsewhere or stay put. And we would never want that to reflect poorly on either one of us,
No.
right? So I think that your ability with so many years of experience to make an inquiring broker feel comfortable and know that it is a discreet conversation. And, if it's the right move for them, then they're going to make that decision and it'll be on their schedule.
Well, I feel like we don't recruit. I feel like I brought an agent over in Nashville. Love her. She was at another company. She was a $25 million company as of July 1st last year. She's already at 43 this year. What I saw was the potential that she had. She was already doing so much social media. She had 247,000 followers.
Wow.
And it was all homes. And they were Sotheby's homes. And I'm like, then why aren't you with us, But she said I wasn't a recruiting call because it was more just like when I'm sitting there at a listing appointment or talking to buyers. It's the relationship, right? I want to build a relationship with this person because we're kind of dating. Like, we have to see if I'm a good fit and they're a good fit.
Right.
I don't want to
Right.
call and just dial for dollars. We want to attract the best.
It's a warm touch that you offer, and it is an advisory consultation at first, which is this a fit? What is it that you're looking to achieve out of your growth trajectory? Do we have the tools to provide that to you? And we can represent the advantages that you'll have here, and then you'll be able to compare and contrast with your other opportunities and make an enduring decision.
Yeah.
And that's the most important. And those that have been on that journey with us for many years have certainly had the benchmark results to benefit. And that aggregate is what has propelled the company to be dominant in luxury and in productivity when compared to the top 10 largest brands. Something that occurs to me is market share itself doesn't sell real estate, Val. It's the most productive brokers that do. And I would like to have those advantages and be amongst the few that carries that message forward, as opposed to being in a commoditized environment where everybody has the same advantage, because that's where compression happens. And so it's no surprise that we see brokers like yourself that have enjoyed those advantages to remarkable results, whether that's down the street or interstate or even internationally. And that's going to be hard to keep up with. Certainly other acquisitions are trying to become a global luxury agent.
It takes years.
Yeah.
But we have that heritage already, and we already have those relationships, and it just, what we've done on the when I talk about the 4.3 billion plus referral network, that didn't just happen overnight. That happened over years of just connecting, and many of our clients are uber wealthy, and they're very private. They want an introduction, just like you would your wealth advisor. They want an introduction. They want you. Like, I can't tell you how many times people say, I want a Val in New York, or I want a Val in California. And if I don't know those other agents as well, that I'm handing my client off, my special client, I feel like it's a Tiffany box. I'm giving them a Tiffany box. That if I haven't vetted those agents as well in our own network, those clients may never come back to me because the handoff was not good. I think that's what we have too, and this took years to nurture, is this referral network, and so I think it's special,
and it's effective,
just
and
like
it makes a difference.
Sotheby's is trusted to sell their artwork and to sell the most beautiful pieces in the world.
Well, and to those local brokers that may have realized a 30 or 40% decline over the last couple of years as the market declined, likewise, one way to backfill that would be through referral network. And some of our agents are earning 30, 40, 50, even a majority of their business through just referral networking.
And so, people get caught up on cap, or, they're like, oh, you guys cost more. Well, no, let's go back to the 1099. But also, how many referrals did you work this year? On the average, it's $8,000. One referral is $8,000 in someone's pocket. Now, we got different price points all across the country, right? But if you do 3 of those a year, there's $24,000. That's usually somebody's cap, right? And they always complain about the cap. And I'm like, well, I just met your cap. I'm going to introduce you to 3 people that you're going to work with this year or send your clients to in 3 different, we know who our feeder markets are.
Absolutely.
And so I just love it. I just think you guys, the higher average sales price, collaboration, the most incredible marketing tools. And I always say, you don't know what you don't know till you're here.
Well, you're a great way to be introduced to all that, Val, and I'm so proud. I will have to say also that, being a local and, being more concerned with our Main Street realities than maybe a Wall Street share price has driven a different kind of decision. And we've resisted opportunities to be acquired or to consolidate in the downturn. And really, we wanted to keep our powder dry and to
We're not for sale.
Yeah, and just, what we've created over 15 years is special. I mean, boutique is beautiful. We're small enough to care, but large enough to matter. And I do believe that that's scalable. We've got an agenda to grow by approximately 100 agents in 2025 with your help. We have room for that growth through our broker care and onboarding in beautiful offices and 6 flagship locations. And we were just waiting for this moment. Now, what's happening in the industry around us, I think, is going to encourage many to start looking at their horizons and what is the brand that they want to be represented by as they grow their business, especially as we talk about the legacy plan and some of our agents that are looking to build teams, redefined a business model for them to sunset in their career without sunsetting their revenues. And for me, this is a beautiful brand to travel the world and make referrals and check back with your team and realize that the business didn't have to sunset, as you retire.
Right. I know, the golden handoff. And I think that Sotheby's has set themselves up really good for that as well. I mean, I'm trying it now, right? Like, I would love to sunset in the next 5 years. And so who do I want to turn my business over to? So I've got some great leadership that's telling me how to do it, just pivot and use a couple different people until I find a fit or a couple fits. And it's worked out really well,
Well, we're trying to also help with tax advice, and there's a number of 401k-like products available for independent contractors that are self-employed that they may not be aware of. I mean, we really do care about the integrity of the entire experience for, the broker that has the work-life balance, but is also, being mindful about their retirement and, their offsetting of potential taxable gains. Another topic of conversation that we're very, very eager to pursue together is the $90 trillion great wealth transfer that is before us. Watching so many of families go through retirement planning and wealth management and making decisions both on the residential and commercial side of their portfolio, moving from active investment strategies into more passive ones like Delaware statutory trusts and various REITs. There is a incredible amount of advisory services that need to be provided to what is going to be the largest migration of wealth that we will see in our lifetime. And it is being passed down to the generations. And a lot of times that is going to require a very well-advised realtor, but also one that's incredibly well networked with other CPAs and wealth management groups. We do a lot of business with UBS, for instance, because they're so well networked in all the markets that matter to our investors and to their portfolios. You must be thinking about that too, as you're looking at building a legacy for your brand.
No, I think of that, and I think of a perfect story of my son who has been a broker for 5 years now, who moved over to the residential side here in LA last year. And that wealth you're talking about is the younger. I mean, it's being transferred to the younger. So we need younger agents. The average age is definitely my age. And the referral there, this was kind of a fun story. Did I tell you this? And so I introduced him to somebody at G&E. That agent had a son going to college went to college with a buddy from Hong Kong. That Hong Kong kid wanted an agent that was young and hip and didn't want an old fogey. That's what he said, an old fogey. So that agent connected my son, who she met at G&E, with this kid. Well, he handles all of his family's assets here in the United States. One of them's a $90 million listing. Another one was 3 parcels of land in Malibu that they own. And this kid wanted somebody my son's age that could relate. He wants a kid that he can hang out with. He wants to build a relationship with him, just like you would your wealth advisor, right? You want to go golfing with them or something to kind of know more about them, because you find out a lot when you're hanging out with people. So I'm watching this and I'm just thinking, this is it. This is the next step of real estate. And these younger kids have almost a better opportunity than we do right now.
There's so much Wall Street capital that came into our industry in the last 5 years. I'm sure you've received all the recruiting calls and had pretty significant offers made to acquire your business, to jump ship and join. I mean, what is your view of that now looking back? I mean, has that made a material difference to the trajectory of some of those brokers, or
The handcuffs.
I mean, are they still there though, those handcuffs?
I'm so glad I never pivoted. And I do get asked at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I was offered money, a lot of money to leave. And I just thought it was my own value proposition and my own moral compass that I just chose to stay. I had already started to build a network of relationships in the Sotheby's, and I can't walk away from that because it's so good and so dear. It's like a family. And I don't regret giving up the money because I think I've made way more money staying in my lane, staying with Sotheby's. It's solid. I'm not afraid it's going anywhere tomorrow. We're not for sale.
That's right. And, we had some of those brokers that it sounded attractive, and let's go, try, see if that's a greener pasture over there. And sometimes they endure, and other times they come back and they realize that the smaller contribution to their bottom line from being acquired effectively, or rented as it would be because they're an independent contractor, was a much lower sum than the business they were giving up by not having access to some of the tools and the advantages, especially the referral network. And so they return. But, not being a broker myself, I'm always so, curious about what goes on, in those conversations and whether it really moved the needle or not. And I also see that there's been some improvement in the stock values of some of our competitive companies. And I'm happy to see that the industry water table is
they
rising.
Keep buying other companies. So
Well, they do. And that is a business model that you can be in. It's not my business model. I'm really more focused on Main Street than I am on Wall Street. But, with that water table rising, those that had stock options or maybe have been contributing towards their stock portfolio with their commissions can now move without having a financial detriment because of the prior stock value was lower. So we're starting to see that melt away the handcuffs and also not have the same kind of
And what's
anchor.
interesting? Those individuals, I've talked to many of them the past year in different markets. The transition was so horrific when they went where they went that's what they're afraid is going to happen coming back. We are so prepared in every single Sotheby's. The transition to, be walk in the door. We're ready for you. Like we're open for business. Nobody's going to know. We're going to have your announcement done. Everything's ready. And so they're so afraid of transition. The other thing they're afraid of, this is a great one. It's someone local. I just talked to him last week. Big agent, one of the first to go to another place. And he's not been happy the whole time.
Uh-oh.
But because the handcuffs are there, he couldn't leave. And now he's transitioning out, he's sunsetting, and he really wants me to have a conversation with his successor.
Yeah.
Because he's not tied to the company. And he says that it's time for him to launch and be on his own. And he said, no better place to be than Sotheby's. And he wasn't with us. He was with someone else, which is fascinating.
Yeah, well, that's a wonderful opportunity and a great compliment, because I do think if it's the last brand you ever have to know and that you do want to retire in life and you can travel the world, I joke that, our business card is blue and so is your passport for a reason. They're just synonymous in so many ways with the lifestyle and the business opportunities as you do travel the world and experience so many different sea, sun, snow, sand, and surf destinations, which I think is one of our jobs, is to bring that experience back. It's sort of the Val's GPS, if you will, where you could say, I just had the most incredible experience. Why don't you, stay for a while and decide if that's a place you might want to put down some roots. But we have an opportunity to bring forth lifestyle propositions that might not otherwise be known by our buyers. And they could choose to be a client, in a moment's notice. And it's really just our job to kind of wake up that opportunity and then to show them their way on that property journey.
I like how you keep bringing the local global too and the boutique, because I don't think there's one office that has the market share, but we don't care. It's really who we have, who our family is. Like, we don't need to be, the Waltons and have 1 million kids. We like the highest average sales price. We like our collaboration. We like our family feel, but we have the global market. We do. We've got a bigger family. And I love sharing that story because a lot of people think, well, we have market share. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like? You have more ants out there? Great.
Well, when's the last time market share bought or sold a home? I mean, the
know.
most productive agents are the ones responsible for that property journey. And we're so fortunate to have those agents choose us as their bespoke brand and to build their business through the entire journey of their independent legacy that we get to do together, within this family that we choose.
I think when there is a lot of disruptions in the market, and it's going to be more and more, and as the bigger, just more and more acquisitions, and we keep our focus. We keep our focus on what we do best, and it is luxury, it is collaboration, it is incredible marketing,
And that culture.
support. The culture over commas is what we say. I know you call it flight to quality as well over quantity. And I agree. I mean, all those are what is building across every Sotheby's that I work with.
I like hearing that.
I just feel like we'll be left standing, and happy with smiling because, it's just like anytime you hear of any company gobbling up other companies, and I'm not just using that one in particular because it happens in smaller companies gobbling up, the happiness factor goes away.
Yeah.
It disappears.
Or the Wall Street mindset set in and leadership shifts and changes and economic decisions are made over cultural ones and you just start to erode what was the reason for being in the first place.
And if you're happy being an agent, I love when I talk to a happy agent and I'm thinking that happy agent may not be so happy when, a lot of disruptions happen. I mean, I left for a short, fat minute. It was the unhappiest 4 months of my life, right? In real estate, it was. And I'm just, I came back and I'm here. And I wish I could tell everybody how awesome it is to be at Sotheby's. I mean, they have no idea until they're here and we're not going anywhere. So I don't know. I just get happy.
Thank you for those contributions. Well, we're happy to have you back and to lead us to where we're heading next. And growth is in our future. And this has been the inflection point for our industry. And, to the second half of this decade, it'll be a much brighter and more prosperous version of the first half, that's for sure. Well, thank you, Val Burmester. We broke down some of the challenges and opportunities in the ever-changing landscape of residential real estate, both regionally and nationally. For more information, feel free to follow us online and visit us at RSIR.com.